Hey everyone, Ryan Shroud here. Before you get into watching the rest of our kind of live preview about the VivoTab RT, we wanted to update you on something. Throughout the rest of the video, you will see us talking about pricing pretty much throughout. Now, when we first got our email and we got our unit in this morning, it was listed as $599 just for the tablet and $199 for the docking station. Since then, and actually thanks to our chat room, we had some confusion about what it was. We checked a press release, and then we actually checked with a couple of people directly, and ASUS has changed the bundling pricing, apparently without informing us, or we didn't get that right email. So the actual new pricing is going to be $599 for the combination. That's $599 for the 32 gig version of the tablet and the dock station. Now, you'll see me talk about the pricing as being $599 plus $199 for the devices throughout the video, and talking, somewhat negatively about it because it seemed pretty high. That would still be the case. However, now that you can get the dock and the tablet for $600, I think it really changes a lot of what our perceptions were in the video. So you can still definitely go through, look at the experiences, the different applications, and how we use things. But when I talk about pricing, keep in mind that now at $599 for the combo of the 32 gig version with the dock, that we actually think this is going to be a much better deal. And I think we said it puts it on par with the Surface pricing, the Microsoft Surface pricing as well, that will be $599 for a keyboard attachment and the tablet itself. So at $600, $200 less than what we thought, this actually, the VivoTab RT becomes a much more compelling productivity and entertainment device. Hey guys, thanks for coming to PC Perspective. Today we're going to try a new type of activity, something that was suggested actually by Ken. We actually just got in our ASUS VivoTab RT. That is this device right here. This is a Windows RT based tablet from ASUS, obviously powered by an NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor. You'll see some reviews out today while we're talking about this. We just got ours in literally at like 2:15 p.m. or something like that. So we knew that was going to be the case. We knew it was going to be close. We obviously weren't going to have time to do a review or anything. But since the NDA was up, we were allowed to discuss it. I figured it might be interesting to kind of talk with you guys and do a live stream about just the various products, kind of walk through what our initial experiences are, and then obviously we'll follow that up with a full review in the not too distant future as well. So if you look here, you'll see we've got our ASUS VivoTab RT. We also have, they sent us the VivoTab RT mobile dock, which is, in a similar vein to what the Transformer tablet series did. You've got your tablet, and then this adds keyboard, trackpad, and an additional battery as well. I'll just go ahead and move that out of the way for now and start with this. Now, I did obviously kind of already walk through things here. They don't ship it powered on, which is good news. It is a 10.1-inch tablet. It feels nice. It's 1.15 pounds, I think, based on the specifications that we saw. Let's see what we got here. Put this to the side. We'll talk about that, obviously, for the majority of the day. Inside the box, you'll find basic manual. There's a cleaning cloth in here, which is nice for tablets that have a lot of fingerprint issues. You have your USB power adapter. Let's see if I can see what this has for this is 5 volts at 2 amps, so 10 watt power adapter there. 2 amps, should help charge the battery. I think it's a 25 watt hour battery. And then the dock adds another 23. This little adapter is actually a converter from the proprietary dock connection on the VivoTab RT to USB. So if you wanted to attach a USB device to it, plug this in here, and you can do that way. And then, of course, they have the USB to dock connector cable for charging and all that kind of stuff as well. Other than that, that's pretty much all you're getting inside the box here. I could pull this up, but it's glued down. There's nothing else there. Pretty simplistic, right? We're talking about computers that don't need a lot of extras in them. So here's the tablet. I guess, is this camera angle working all right, Ken? It's a little bit of a glare, but it's hard to not get one. This is my first kind of hands-on experience with Windows 8 or Windows RT, not Windows 8 RT, but with Windows RT in this tablet form factor. I've played around with it, for a couple of minutes at times at trade shows or at company offices and that kind of stuff. But as Ken and I saw when I was starting to play with it, learning the gestures, learning how I would accidentally close applications, learning how all Windows 8, not Metro anymore, Windows 8 interface kind of really works. So if we look around the device real quick, you'll see on the bottom, maybe a little bit harder to see, there's two openings here, and these are for the hinges for the keyboard dock that I'll show you in a little bit. Here is your actual dock connector, so that's where that little adapter will go if you want to connect anything that way or if you want to connect the power. On this side, you've got your volume rocker up here and your headphone port. On this side, there is a, what is this, micro SD card slot, and then I think this is micro HDMI as well. So you've got some connectivity options there, and then this is the actual switch to disengage the dock from the tablet itself. Up top, you've got your power, sleep button, that kind of thing. On the back, it is a combination of metal and plastic. I'm guessing hopefully they've put the radios behind the plastic part up here. You've got I think it's an 8 megapixel camera on the back. We've got some stickers on here that we'll take off in a little bit as well. Front megapixel camera. First thing, one of the things Ken noted that hopefully won't bother us for too long is the Windows logo is in the center. The camera is slightly off center, and we don't really know why. We'll ask ASUS why that is. I'm guessing there's some technical reason for it, or maybe there's some usage model about one-handed use cases, or maybe about using it like this that allows your hand maybe your thumb's not covering it if you're holding it this way. There could be something like that. Interesting to see. It is a 10-inch 1366 by 768 Super IPS panel. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's not super high resolution, but in terms of brightness and image quality, it looks pretty good. So here is the start menu. This is Windows RT, not Windows 8, so that means it's a Tegra 3 ARM-based quad-core platform. You're not going to be able to run x86 applications. You are limited to installing things that come from the Microsoft Store in this interface. And one of the things that we've already found is if I open up here into the store, you'll see there's not a whole lot of applications yet for this. And I was told by several people that Microsoft, for whatever reason, decided to kind of hold off on opening the floodgates of applications until the official unveiling, the official release of Windows RT on the 26th. So we're still a few days away from that. What we do see here is interesting is this has ASUS picks for what they recommend. Camera, they've got their own SMS applications. Web storage is kind of how they're doing. I think they give you 8 gigs free web storage with this. But then you scroll through here and you'll see there's a games listing, a social listing, entertainment. Netflix is on here. That's going to be a big one. It's probably one of the bigger name applications available today. There's a lot of minor stuff, but there's definitely some things missing this early. For example, no Facebook app, no Twitter app from Twitter. There are some third-party Twitter apps that I'll show you here in a minute as well, but the official Twitter app is not there. In news and weather, like you don't see a New York Times, there is a USA Today application. So you can see what it's like in terms of using an app store. It's pretty familiar with how you're used to seeing those types of things if you use an Android phone or an iOS phone. So I mean, it works pretty well. What have we installed so far? We installed Microsoft Smart Glass that we'll talk about in a little bit. We have our Xbox 360 hooked up to kind of try to demo that and see how that works. We've installed Newegg. We've installed several other things. So let's go back to the home screen here and kind of get a general feel for it. I have noticed a couple of times just a little bit of an initial stutter on the scrolling, but in the defense of the device, we have been running updates in the background and doing some of that kind of stuff. But you can see it's very responsive. It scrolls fast. This is a mobile operating system at its best, right? So it's pretty interesting so far. I mean, We've got different versions of Internet Explorer. We'll show you the dock in a second. We'll show you how you can get to a traditional desktop as well, including utilizing the included Office 2013 Home and Student version. So you can see here, just in terms of a mobile browsing experience, it's actually pretty good. I don't know. We'll click on some random things in here and see how it works. Speed seems fine. I haven't seen any kind of drawbacks here. If we can try just kind of zooming. It takes a little bit for if we zoom in real quick, for the text to kind of sharpen up a little bit there, but it does seem to be responding pretty well. We can go back and forward through that kind of stuff as well through the different tabs. Again, this is one of my first times actually utilizing all these applications. Let's see what else. We were looking at maps earlier. And all this responds really well with the device. And let's see, that's not really accurate. It's where we are. I think I might have the GPS radio turned off, but there it did. Kind of zooms out a little bit and then comes back into focus when you change its orientation. Yeah, so that works all right. Good scrolling speed and zooming. Let's see, what else did we take a look at earlier? So here's an interesting look at a new app. We installed the Newegg application. Now, I think what you'll find is a lot of websites and kind of retail outlets are going to have these types of stores. It's not necessarily any more information than you can get on their website, but it's just a little bit easier for this touch interface. It's kind of having a mobile version of your website to a new level. So if you can see here, everything scrolls side to side. You're no longer scrolling up and down. But it's convenient, right? You can look around easily and see what the deals are. But if you want to go look for specific things, you can absolutely do that. Let's look at cases. Let's go to just standard computer cases. So you can see what they've done. If you're a frequent visitor to Newegg, they've basically taken their component categories and kind of narrowed them down to an easy-to-use application. Tim Very at PC Perspective has been looking at converting our hardware leaderboard into a Metro-style application. But you can see here, you've got how your reviews look. And it's pretty cool. Now, this is not a VivoTab RT feature. This is not even really a Windows RT feature. This is just how the applications work, but this is what they're pushing for and striving for. Let's go back home again. I guess we could start up one of these games as well. So this does have the Tegra 3 processor in it. It's a quad-core CPU. And one of the things they are promoting is that it has gaming power. Now, we've seen some pretty impressive-looking games on the Android OS on Tegra, but keep in mind that if you have a Transformer Prime or a Transformer, any of those models where those games aren't necessarily going to be the same, right? I actually already made the mistake of, what was that game that NVIDIA showed at CES? It was kind of a third-person action shooter, and I was like, oh, wait, that's actually an ARM, or not ARM-based, but it's actually an Android-based piece of software as opposed to Windows piece of software. So you can see here, I don't know how well that will kind of show up through our highly reflective camera, but the graphics look okay. I literally played this for about 30 seconds before we did the stream, and the gameplay leaves a little bit to be desired, I think is fair to say. But you play this like you would any other tablet game. Let's turn that volume down some. And again, I don't know how interesting this will be until we get larger name titles out in the store. But it looks good. It looks like it has capability to do some interesting stuff. I'm not sold on this game, I guess. It's fair enough to say. But again, we're still a few days from the official release, so we'll see how it all works out. Now, say you wanted to close this application like I do right this instant. You can do, so what they claim to do for the Windows 8 UI, or the Windows RT UI, apparently they're not doing that in the game though. So here you can, if we had multiple applications running, we could change their order, and if you swipe all the way to the bottom, you basically just close that program and application. So, if you've seen Windows 8 coverage, you know how all this kind of works. Let's see, you could go to the games, you can go to the camera. Music is actually a replacement for what used to be Zune and is now either Xbox Music or Windows Music. I don't know exactly how they're branding it on the RT side of things. Let's take a look at the desktop. Ta-da! There you go. This is an ARM-based, ARM-powered device, Tegra, but you're seeing what is essentially a standard Windows desktop. Instead of a start button, you've got your Internet Explorer, but if you want to open up Internet Explorer in this environment, you can do that, right? So you can see here it opens up msn.com and ASUS in the background, and you scroll with one finger this way. You can still, I think you can still zoom in. No, actually, I guess you can't. Yeah, you can. You can still zoom in, all that kind of stuff. Just a different environment. So we'll close that. You have your recycle bin. What is a little bit confusing, like initially for me, was I wanted to hit start, run, and type in some programs. You really can't do that from this interface. But if you have, you've got one of the big things for Windows RT is the free inclusion of the home and student or office and student version 2013 of Microsoft Office. And I think that could be a pretty big selling point. If not for Windows RT over Windows 8, but for Windows RT over iOS or Android, right? Because one of my big complaints with iOS and Android tablets so far has been the lack of being able to be productive, right? In the traditional style, the applications that I'm used to. So with Office like this, you can just type away, right? Let's create a new document, and although not ideal, maybe using just the tablet without a dock, I mean, you can absolutely write out a document if you should so choose to do it. I wouldn't recommend it without the dock, but we'll show you that in a second. And keep in mind, this is Office running locally. This is not what they call Office Live or Office 360 that runs online or anything like that. This is the full version. You get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and what's the N? OneNote? OneNote. So let's say you want to run some of these other things, like let's go search and Task Manager. You absolutely can access Task Manager in the same way that you would on a Windows 8 device. So here you can see this is Task Manager showing what program's running, the background processes, that type of thing. This is all redone for Windows 8, and it is also in Windows RT. If we click on the Performance tab, you can see, let's maximize that. You'll see NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core CPU. You get your CPU utilization, clock speeds, all that kind of stuff that you would be used to seeing in a Task Manager situation. There's our memory. You can see it's got 2 gigs of memory. We're using less than a gig. Here's your disk I/O. We have the 32 gig model. It will be offered in a 64 gig model. We don't have any Bluetooth connection, and you can see our spikes in Wi-Fi usage. And we are connected apparently 802.11g, which is probably the top speed of this router that we're actually using in here. So you can see your app history, which is cool. Get an idea of how long applications ran, that kind of deal. But it's just cool to see that in Windows RT you have access to not everything, but similar Windows-based functionality that you would in anything else. Let's see what else we want to show in this. If you guys are in the chat room, feel free to leave any questions here. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it to see what you guys want to know, what you want to see demoed. I know we'll do Smart Glass. Before we do Smart Glass, I guess let's go ahead and show the dock. So I'll just go ahead and put that to sleep and set that to, I don't know, right there. And we'll bring back in the VivoTab RT Mobile Dock. Now this dock is a $199 add-on to the cost. The VivoTab itself, the RT we've been playing with, is $599. So you're talking $600 plus $200, $800 total. That's pretty steep That's asking a lot. So we have to be pretty impressed with this device to really recommend it. And I think so far that will yet to be seen. I think they're also offering a bundle with like if you buy them both together with the 64 gig model, it might be a little bit cheaper or something like that. So we'll take a look at that. So here, obviously, this would normally be wrapped in plastic, but since we'd already taken it out and played with it, if you've seen the Transformer devices and accessories, this will look very familiar. It's got a decent keyboard to it. Actually types pretty well. It's small. It's a 10-inch laptop keyboard. It's going to be small. You got your touchpad. It feels nice. Clicks well. This also has a dock connector here. So if you have other accessories for your VivoTab, you'll be able to attach those there. And it also has an additional USB port. So if you want to attach a USB device, you can do that without any kind of adapter when you have this dock installed. And you can see that kind of actually determined the thickness of the dock. And then here you have your hinge that will attach to the dock. In here you'll just get the same manual type information here. So the installation of these two devices is really pretty simple. You line up the arrow on the Windows logo with the arrow on the top there, and you push it in until it clicks in place. You'll feel actually a little vibration on the tablet itself as the dock is connected. It realizes it has power. And there you go. Now you have essentially a small clamshell laptop. I hate to say the word, but it's kind of reminiscent of what netbooks were. But this is a totally different type of device, right? So it feels pretty good. It feels a little bit heavier than I would like, I guess, an initial feel of it, but it also is very dense because of its size, right? So if you look at it compared to, I brought out an iPad and ASUS's own Nexus 7. So if you look here, you can kind of get an idea of how these devices compare in size that way. And then if we look at, well, that's not really fair with the dock on it. We'll look at it without it too. But here is that VivoTab RT kind of overlaid with the Nexus 7 as well. Totally, in my opinion, different use case scenarios for these. So let's see what it's like using this with that. Turn this a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. Now, there may be a way to do this, and I've kind of not been able to figure it out yet, but how do I unlock this? Just click, I guess. So you can still use the touch interface, or you can use the touchpad. You get a cursor. So we can open up the calendar and see if there are any wildly, let's see, there's one of our issues, one of our wildly important accounts to look at there. Yes, I'm aware. We can hit a Windows key and go back there. So let's open up Internet Explorer and let's visit PCPer.com. Now, the Windows RT version of Internet Explorer, oh, it does have Flash. I thought earlier it didn't have Flash. Weird. Maybe one of our updates that we did kind of added that in. So you can see it loads up PCPer. We're actually talking about the VivoTab RT and the Tai Chi announcement as well today. So you can see it loads it up pretty well. It's pretty responsive. And yeah, it looks pretty good, right? So if you want to highlight some stuff and, I don't know, copy it, if you want to steal some of Josh's article, I guess you can do that on that too. So it does well, or you can, use your cursor, scroll like you would normally, 2 fingers, and, browse around as if it were a laptop. So that's pretty nice. Hit the Windows key, let's go back. You can use a touchpad to scroll across this. We can go to one of the applications that we've opened and do the same thing here. So it's nice to see, will it be the best touchpad keyboard combination or the best keyboard and touchpad that you'll use? I'm going to say no, but in terms of a 10.5-inch machine, being able to basically take the functionality of the tablet and add onto it, as opposed to what I think many of the convertible laptops will be with the Windows 8 release, which is let's take a laptop and slap some experience or some features onto it, a la taking off just the tablet part, as opposed to taking a tablet and adding features to it. I'll be curious to see kind of how people react to it. But yeah, so that works pretty well. Let's see. Anything else? We've got our web storage here, ASUS camera. Let's see if we got that installed already too. Yes, I think I'm allowed to use my camera. All right, well, there you go. You're seeing a picture out the back of it, which is actually showing our Xbox 360. And if I swap the camera, you can see me, or look up my nose rather and see the ceiling and that kind of stuff. So typical tablet type options, typical tablet software, all working very well. I'm a little bit let down that there's not more of the applications we wanted to be able to install and see to really test this type of thing. I guess let's one of the things on this dock, obviously they're claiming on the box that you'll get 16 hours of battery life with the combination of the battery in the tablet and the battery on the dock. That's pretty good. The tested battery life from ASUS that they gave to us is just over 14, I think 14 and a half hours. Yeah, 14 hours and 41 minutes with the tablet and the dock station. That's actually pretty good. And if this is something where I will probably be taking on my next business trip, next work trip, seeing can I get enough done with this? Can I take pictures with my camera, import it through the USB port? Are there going to be applications and ways to use that in the WinRT ecosystem, as opposed to the, just the Windows x86 ecosystem, where we know what you're going to get with that? Let's try. Okay, so now we want to do, if you guys have any questions, yeah, there is USB on the dock, and I think there is on the Transformer dock too, Knight Rider. I see you're asking about that in the chat room. If you guys have any questions or anything specific you want me to look at in the interface on the tablet, something maybe you've read in a different article that you wanted to see kind of demoed in real time, let me know. In the meantime, I think what we're going to try to do is Xbox Smart Glass. Now, if Ken will switch to the input behind us, you'll see we actually have my Xbox 360 hooked up, and my controller turned off, but here we go. You see, this is all working. Proper representation of myself. We've got Bing installed, and we've got all that kind of deal running. So what we wanted to do is, let me actually, if we switch back here, you can see the latch to remove the dock is actually on the tablet itself as opposed to on the dock, which I think is interesting, potentially a good idea. Let's try this. Now, we got it working earlier, and we were able to do some cool things. So let's start up the Xbox Smart Glass. There are going to be other types of Smart Glass applications, sporting applications. We saw demos, or at least previews of ones like NBA, that give you interesting information while you're watching the video and watching TV. So here you can see on the screen, we actually saw Visual Connected, and we have our Xbox Smart Glass on our tablet. You say, that's great, what can you do with it? You can do things like actually control you're emulating a controller with this particular application. So if you want to do anything in particular on here, you can absolutely do it that way. Let's see if I close that. It'll actually tell you what is now playing on the Xbox. Right now it says Xbox 360 dashboard. But let's say we want to start up Internet Explorer. Play on Xbox 360. And so what this will actually do is it will start the browser of the Xbox 360, and you can then control it on the tablet while you're on your couch or whatever it is, right? So let's say we want to go to The Onion. Click on that. And we can see that Obama has apparently taken out Romney with a mid-debate drone attack. Now, you can see here it says move and tap with one finger, zoom with two. We're moving this cursor around. It's not instant. There's definitely a latency there. There's definitely a lag behind it, right? Oh, we have an optional media update downloaded. You can see I can zoom in on things. But because you're not getting the same image on here, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of bridge that gap between what you're seeing on the screen versus what you're actually touching. So I found it hard to be able to zoom in on specific things. So like if I scroll down and I wanted to read more about the kangaroo part. See, and I'm going to go up there. There we go. It does work, and it's interesting, and it's... Go back. But it's an interesting use, right? This is, I guess they announced this during E3, I think it was, right? Or was it CES? One or the other. I think it was E3. And they talked about what you can do with smart glass and that kind of stuff. And this is one of the examples of it. So let's close Internet Explorer. What else can we do? I honestly don't know. We're just kind of playing by ear here. So here's Madden NFL 13. Now the game is not in the drive. So let's see what happens when we play it on the Xbox 360. I have no idea what this is going to do. I don't know if it's going to bring up my profile or what. Oh, okay. So since I don't have the game in there, I guess it's going to allow me to download the demo or something like that if I want to. Now, what's interesting in this case is while it played it on the screen, you're also getting it on the tablet device as well. So you can see, I haven't played this very much, I guess. I only have 5% of the achievements. Related games are, let's say, Madden 12, probably 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6. Let's see if it'll show. I have some friends that have recently played it. I won't click on them because their names are probably not appropriate for a PG audience. What else do we have? Go to music. I think we were able to get this to work before. Don't play any music? Oh, well, we'll play it. If we play it, we'll play real quick. So I have a Zune account, and this should work. We see this signing in issue up there. That was a problem we had earlier, actually, as well. I'm not 100% sure that all of the services are up and running, because you here see it's asking me to buy stuff when I have a Zune subscription. I'd be able to play it without having to do that. So, yeah, it actually opened us up into Xbox Music. So, yeah, and here we can browse through all the things that we have opened by using another one of these interesting gestures that I obviously don't know how to use incredibly well. Bring up back Smart Glass. Were we able to get any of these videos to play? Send to it? Because that would obviously be ideal to send to the Xbox that way. Yeah, it probably was Josh's XXX rated Scream name. We don't want to. Let's not watch the Magic Mike Spotlight. Maybe let's go something like Walking Dead, View the Seasons. I don't want to buy anything, but you have that capability, which I guess is nice. I wanted a free preview, guys. Not through here. Okay. So, let's try something else. Here we go. Choose an app. There we go. So that actually sent it to it, but when it says play on the Xbox 360, it's not actually playing it necessarily. It may just be taking you to that landing page. Yeah, you can see that there.
The final mission to
but it is
save
going to go ahead and play
failed. The 70-mile-wide asteroid known as Matilda is set to collide with Earth in exactly 3 weeks' time, and we'll be bringing you our countdown to the end of days, along with all your classic rock favorites.
So I mean, it's, you're
feel
basically
free
getting
to wear
here
your
is
casual
a
Friday clothing pretty much
remote
any day of the
control,
week.
if you
And if
will,
anyone wants to be
for your
CFO,
Xbox.
anyone?
So, what are you doing with the rest of your life?
Catching up on some me time, find God, maybe move around some chairs.
Maybe I'll run in.
There we go. Thank you. So with using some of that, so there's obviously some work to do in terms of how they either show it or use it. But it did work. You can see us swapping through our applications here. The processor seems snappy. The interface seems snappy. You can obviously do this kind of stuff still. This is apparently cool and interesting. I'm not sure exactly how well it will excite enthusiasts and that kind of deal, being able to do two applications at once when you're used to doing so much more than that. But yeah, we did have the music working before, didn't we? I thought we did. Play on 360. Says I'm not allowed to play it. Well, we can mute that out before we edit that too. So you can pause it there. So that actually works a little better now that we see how that is actually working now that it appears I'm logged in. So you can play stuff to your 360. If you have that hooked up to your home theater and stuff, that's actually pretty cool. Change tracks. Yeah, that's pretty much what we've gone through so far. I don't know what else we can try. I don't have any benchmarks to test. I don't have any. Let's see. Nice. I don't know how to fix that. Where's my remote? Oh well. Well, here, let's try it. Let's bring up Smart Glass. We will. Let's see. We'll go to. How do I get back to the controller? We'll do that. We'll do... No, I don't really care about Neo's bio. Well. There. Now we've done that. How's that? I've cheated and used the actual controller. So... I really don't know what else to get into unless you guys have specific questions. I don't know. I guess we could go to some of the web benchmarks. If we open up the browser here, let's see. And what's a good one we can use for? Maybe. I don't know what the. That is an ugly animal too. Here we go. So far, it's not hot at all. Just feeling the back of it. I don't have any heat issues. Now, maybe if we were playing that game for a while, we might have some heat issues. And you can see here, it's running through the SunSpider JavaScript benchmark. We'll get a result, and I'll have no idea how to compare it to anything right off the top of my head. So. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be getting hot for anything, because keep in mind that the Tegra 3, the Tegra 3 processor is in phones, right? So here it has a lot more space for them to add cooling, maybe all across the back of the device without having to worry about cramped space. There are no fans in it, I don't think. I think this is a completely fanless device, as is the dock. So in terms of noise, it should be completely silent. Yeah, I think WebViz Bench is actually gone. I think we tried to use that recently for something, and it was just taken down. Dave asks, I assume the RT version has no pressure-sensitive capabilities. Do you know if the Pro version will be pressure-sensitive capable? I believe that's an issue with the touchpad. I don't think that's Windows specifically, right? If the touchpad has drivers that support pressure-sensitive interfaces and commands and that kind of stuff. I think Synaptics was showing some of that stuff not too long ago. that I see no reason why even Windows RT couldn't do it, as long as they have an ARM-capable driver, since that's what Windows RT is going to be running on. So here you can see our results of our SunSpider benchmark, and let's see, total is 1,141.6 milliseconds. So somebody in the chat room is welcome to tell me how those scores kind of line up with. I guess I can run them on the iPad I have sitting here just to see. Sure, I don't know. What's the URL for that? Yeah, I think I'll just Google it instead. So let's see. We'll do SunSpider, not SunSpider Bike. Here we go, I've got that. We'll run that down here too. So if you want to see a side-by-side of, this is the iPad. This is not the one that was announced today, obviously. This is the iPad 3 that I will still call it. And you'll see here it compared to the RT, the VivoTab RT. A little bit shorter, 16 by 10 device. Is that right? Or is this 4 by 3 device? I think it's 4 by 3, and this is a 16 by 9, 1366 by 768 resolution. Yes, unpracticed benchmarks. We have no idea what result we're going to get. It's not incredibly fair because we have been running other things. They may be running in the background. You know, it had a different browser tab open, that kind of stuff on this. So we'll just remember 1141 for our result there. What's our weather going to be like today? It is nice out here in Kentucky. It's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. 80 degrees. Yes, you may use my location because I don't care what it's like wherever you're at. St. Bernard, Ohio. Where's that at? Is that in Cincinnati someplace? I don't think I have the GPS turned on. And it's based on the Wi-Fi, which is Cincinnati Bell. So look at that, 79 degrees and clear. Huh? Hourly forecast. Let's take a look at a map. Maybe. Man, glad I'm not in Indianapolis. That's all I can say. Ooh. Pantene ad. Our result on our iPad was 1,784 milliseconds. So I'm assuming higher is worse. It's a time-based thing, so surely you want it to happen in less time. If that's the case, then this actually, the VivoTab RT is performing pretty well. So let's see if there are any default photos on here. Nope. Nope, here we go. Pictures library. Water. A cow. I don't know. Just some easy ones. Kitty cats. So, yeah, I don't know what else to get into until we actually spend a lot more time with this device. I would have to say that it feels solid. It's not super heavy. I'm comparing it here to the iPad 3, and I'm still going to say the iPad 3 is heavier. This is a little bit more. I would consider it harder to hold because of its longer, stretched out thing. If I wanted to hold it with one hand like this, that takes a little bit more work. Holding it like this is fine because obviously it puts the weight down there. And as you can see, if you switch to that, the interface works with it still. It dynamically scales things. So even if we go into maps, we've already shown that one. Actually, let's go back into the weather application here and see if it is smart enough to handle all that. But this is going to be application based. So, 80 degrees tomorrow. So all the app and our Pantene ad still shows up too. So we know everything's working right. Yeah, Ken, you have any more thoughts on what it is? I mean, we can play around with all these different applications, but I don't think that's going to be anything different than what people may have already seen with Windows 8 or Windows RT to begin with. I think in terms of an initial Windows RT device, the VivoTab is nice, right? It's solid. It feels good. It's a little bit on the expensive side. I think we'll have to. One of the problems with being the first one out, as ASUS is with this, is it's really hard to know what to think about it until you see what the competition is, right? So, how much is the Surface going to cost? $499, I think. Right? So at $100 less, what does this do better or worse than the Microsoft Surface? That will be a question that has to be asked. I think those will actually be arriving on the 26th, maybe even a little bit before, so in the next few days, next 2 or 3 days at least. So how does this differ from what the Surface does? How does this differ from the iPad? Obviously, the application ecosystem is completely different. It has its highs, it has its lows. The Windows operating system on this is going to be one of its highs, but the lack of the huge amount of applications that you get in iOS platforms is obviously going to be a detriment to this. The dock is a great addition. I think that this has the potential to make the combo a laptop replacement, even with Windows RT instead of Windows 8. It has the potential to do that. My issue, again, is going to come down to price. $599 plus $199, you're talking about an $800 purchase for this combo. And while 16 hours of battery life is awesome, you're still not getting a full Windows experience. And I think it's a little bit easier to forgive not having access to x86 applications and that entire legacy backlog of software when it's just a tablet form. But when you put it into a laptop form, essentially, right, when you combine the dock and tablet to make not a phablet, but a laptop, essentially, you start to have different expectations for the device. I think you start to think, oh, okay, well, now I can install Handbrake on it if I wanted to record a video, transcode it, and upload it to YouTube. Oh, well, actually, I can't do that. I need to find an application in the WinRT ecosystem that will do that, which could be a problem. Like, for example, I was gone this weekend visiting AMD, and that's exactly what I did. We recorded a video with a high-res camera. We needed to transcode it, so we didn't have to upload 3.5 gigs of video. Was able to easily do that on an Ultrabook, upload it to YouTube. Could you upload a video to YouTube from this? Absolutely. Could you do the transcoding? I don't know yet, and that will be something that we have to judge over time. I think the initial outlook for me is that the hardware is great on this. I think the software is good. I'm not a Windows 8 downer, as I know many people are. I think the interface is interesting, especially on a tablet, and I think it all comes down to software. I think many people might think that's a cop-out for an opening kind of thoughts, but it's all going to come down to software for the success of Windows RT. How will ASUS compare to Lenovo is going to have their Windows RT device. Microsoft has their own Windows RT device, and we're all very curious to see how that's going to compare to what everybody else is doing. And are they undercutting them by $100? Is the Surface a 10.1-inch device as well? I think it is, right? So, will that cause animosity? I think it already has, but will that lead to less people being interested in the VivoTab RT? So, if you guys have any more questions in the chat room, we'll take a couple minutes and answer those. Yeah, $350 would be a good price point, I think, but that's an easy cop-out as well. Anytime lower is always going to be better for a price. I think the iPad Mini that they just announced today was going to be $329, so that's kind of in that same time frame or price range. No, you cannot upgrade the memory. You're stuck at 2 gigs of memory. You can add more storage through on this side. Actually, if we switch back to this angle, you can see here there is a micro SD slot. Now, ASUS did tell me today that they are going to have an LTE version of this later down the line, but they didn't say exactly when, so I don't know if that will even be before the end of the year. Always-on connectivity is a big thing for tablets. It's one of the reasons why I still carry my iPad around at all, is because if my phone has issues, I have another cellular connection. But I think a lot of people don't like the idea of having that added expense. Anything else that has showed up here? Surface has a 10.6-inch screen, somebody's saying in the chat. Does it charge off USB? It doesn't. It will. Yeah, I mean, yes. Yes. The power plug that you get in the box is, in fact, a power, wall outlet to USB adapter. Oh, that's the wrong box here. This is what you get for that. It is it's wrapped in plastic. That's why it looks a little ugly. But it is a power plug to USB adapter, and then they have the USB cable. This is charging at more than, it's charging at 2 amps instead of 500 milliamps that standard USB does. So you don't have to worry about it taking forever. But that makes this a 10 watt. Is that the same as the iPad? So the iPad also has a 10 watt power adapter, so the same amount of juice there. And then we've got the cable. It's a little bit, they do have a proprietary dock on this here. You can see you're not going to be able to charge this with a mini USB cable anymore. If you lose that cable, or you need an extra. And I'm a person that wants one cable at home, and I want one cable at the office because I don't want to have to remember to bring my cable each time. That's going to be a problem for me. I mean, that's already a problem for me with the iPad, and that I only have one charger and I forget to take it home or bring it back to the office. So I think that could be a little bit of a bummer. I would love to have seen it just charge via a micro USB, or at least have the option to, even if it would take a little bit longer. Does it support host mode USB for accessories? I don't know. I could try it. We can hook it up to the dock, and Ken can get me a thumb drive or something like that. Here, let's, again, testing on the fly. What could possibly go wrong? So we put it back in the dock, and we have 2 gig thumb drive right here, and you can see the USB port on the side. I don't no idea what's going to happen when we plug it in. It lights up. Let's see. Pen drive. Tap to choose what happens with removable drives. So we'll click that, and it gives me options. You want to configure this drive for backup, open folder to view files, or take no action. Let's open the folder and view the files. It takes you back to your Windows environment, and you can see we've got some of our internal testing documents here. So there you go. It does just show up as another drive, which is actually it's actually pretty nice. I'm pretty sure a mouse will work. We actually asked that right before we went on camera, and I don't think we have any wired mice. On that shelf there might be that red one that has a USB wireless adapter. We might try that. So that's actually a nice thing. You can't do that with iOS. I think you can do that with some Android tablets, but you don't get the very familiar Windows interface when you would connect the thumb drive to any other way. It does have Bluetooth. It does not have USB 3. Here you go. You want to talk about overkill. Let's take this Corsair. Is this the M60, I think? Yeah, it's the M60. Oh, yeah, that's kind of a top-heavy issue. So we'll take this out, and we'll just go ahead and plug in the mouse. And, there you go. So you can see, I don't know if you guys can see the cursor, but I'll take my hands off of it, and I can close that. Yeah. So yeah, you can absolutely use a keyboard and a mouse. Scroll wheel works right away. We can open up our kind of random Twitter client. No, there's no Thunderbolt on that. So you can see Twitter working. Scroll wheel's not working on that, but does it work on this? No, it's not working on the touchpad either. So there you go. Mouse works. Thumb drive works. You can just access the files as you normally would. Obviously, you can't, copy installers over and that kind of stuff. I could go into mail. I haven't set any of that kind of stuff up. So, hey, look. We can get to our screen resolution still. 36 by 768. What else can we do? There's no... Oh, Control-Shift-Escape doesn't bring up the task manager anymore. Oh, yeah, it does. Never mind. Yeah, so, again, that's another way that this borders on becoming a full laptop. Can you use it for full functionality? Now you can use your normal mouse. You don't like the tiny touchpad that you get with a 10-inch laptop? Hook up your, maybe not that as expensive gaming mouse necessarily, but any kind of, mobile mouse you might have. No Ethernet. No, it does not have Ethernet. It does have AO2.11n support, although our router that we're unfortunately still using is limited to G. Yeah, I kind of agree, Eric, on in the dock, it becomes a totally different device. I just wonder if, with the dock, as expensive as the total package is, if it's trying to be too much, right? At $800, you can get a really nice laptop. You can get a really high-performance laptop. It's definitely going to perform better than this. You're going to have access to all your applications in the Windows ecosystem for $800 as well. You do not get a tablet, right, that you can disconnect yet. But I think between now and Christmas, you're going to see quite a few just x86-based Windows 8 tablets or laptops, Ultrabooks, convertibles that will come out that will kind of be in this same functionality range. They'll be more expensive than $800, I believe. But will this be too much of a price for the type of package that they're kind of going after there? So Papa Dragon does not come with the keyboard. There is a package, like a combo package, that will ship with it, but not at $599. $599 is, and I've got all the highlights here. U.S. pricing is $599 for the 32 gig model and $199 for the docking station. Its expected availability is this Friday, the 26th, and let's see, when we turned on, there were a lot of updates for it. It does have a complete version of Office, Home, and Student 2013. An LTE-enabled unit will be available through AT&T in the near future, but they don't give me any more details than that. Anything else interesting in our notes here? Firmware updates, yeah, that kind of stuff. Corning Fit Glass is used for the panel covering, and the core clock speeds. Although I guess we could show it here if we maybe if we had run this SunSpider at the same time. Up to 1.3 gigahertz on the processors. So it's kind of hard. I can't bend it any further back than that with the dock on, so I'll just kind of hold it. So we'll go ahead and start that, and we'll watch the task manager. And we can actually even change the graph to logical processors. So you get an idea of how the quad-core performance is doing. Yeah. So this is the T30. That's correct, Knight Rider. It's 1.3 max with 2 to 4 cores active. 2 gigabytes of DDR3 low-voltage memory, and Bluetooth is updated to 3.0. Battery size is 25 watt-hours for the tablet and 22 watt-hours for the dock. So not quite double with the dock, but pretty close. And that, to me, was one of the big advantages of what the Transformer could do over any of the other Android tablets. And it's, they're doing the same type of thing here as well. I'm curious to see what the performance difference is for SunSpider inside the Metro interface, the Windows 8 interface, versus this one. So let's see, other notes. You do get up to 8 gigs of storage space free. That's through the ASUS Storage Online type of deal as well. Yeah, so they're claiming 8 hours and 13 minutes of battery life on the tablet and 14 hours and 41 minutes with the tablet and the dock station. And then there's links to press photos, but I don't think any of you guys are particularly interested in that. So I'll let that finish. So it's actually almost the same, 1,111 milliseconds. It's actually a little bit 30 milliseconds faster. But yeah, you get an idea of what your experience would be with this tablet. I think obviously a lot of it is going to depend on how the application ecosystem starts to evolve for Windows RT. If you have any specific suggestions, ideas about what you want to see tested in these tablets, we're going to get, between now and the holidays, I expect we will see 10 to 12 new touch-based laptops and tablets come through the PC Perspective offices, right? So let me know what you guys want to see, what is important to you. If you like these types of live previews, again, this was something we just did off the cuff. We'd had maybe an hour's worth of time with this device before we started the stream. Obviously, I bet ASUS and NVIDIA and Microsoft would love to have us a more kind of precise, prepped presentation for you guys. But I thought it would be interesting to do it live, and as he says, we'll do it live. Screw it, we'll do it live. So that's going to wrap this up. If you're watching this after the fact, if we're putting this on YouTube, please go to PCPer.com, send us an email, leave us a note, go to the forums. Let me know in some fashion what you guys want to see from these types of devices. It's very experiential based as opposed to benchmark based, and everybody's going to want different things on that. So it should be interesting. Thanks, guys.